Alright guys, well, I'm back today with an overview of the Ruger Precision Rimfire chambered in 17 HMR, a varmint hunting and precision plinking master. I absolutely love this rifle. We are going to be talking about the specs and features of it, what makes it so great in my opinion, and why you may want something like a bolt action 17 HMR with a free floating rail system, pick rail up at the top, and some type of extended magazine beyond a lot of those standard 10 round mags that come on a lot of those bolt action rifles. Don't worry YouTube, we are not going over the limit that you guys say, so no need to demonetize this video. And speaking of that, it's probably going to get demonetized anyway, so I greatly appreciate your support of liking, sharing, commenting, and make sure you're subscribed. That makes a huge difference. Thanks, let's dig into it. We're going to start talking from the front to the back about the specs and features, its performance down at the range, and again, why you might want a 17 HMR. Now, the Ruger Precision lineup in the 17 HMR, although it has a few different variations, all of them right now anyways, feature an 18.5-inch barrel, and that's actually threaded half by 28, and this is a hammer-forged 1137 alloy steel barrel, so this thing is insanely good when it comes to specs, features, and materials used on the barrel. The fit and finish is spectacular, and having the half by 28 threads on the end is great again, especially for those varmint hunting applications. In a lot of states like North Carolina, including mine, when I take something beaver hunting, I can hunt at night with NV or white light with no issues whatsoever, and have a cane on the end just makes it that much more pleasurable because you don't have to run hearing protection and you can shoot your targets and not worry about disturbing everything in the area around you, and that works out really well. Again, we'll talk a little bit more about why you would want something like this the later part of this video. Now, surrounding that barrel system is going to be their rail system, and that's going to be their free floating M-LOK rail system, and that actually mounts up to the receiver itself and doesn't touch the barrel at all. And this one mounts up pretty rock solid. If it ever does come loose, there's a couple of screws that you have to remove for the receiver. You'll pop off the chassis from the receiver and you'll see the tightening screws on the rail system, and it does a pretty good job. Now, you don't have any really anti-rotation tabs, but the way it locks in, it's pretty good. If you did run a bipod on the front, a white light, or a clip-on therm, something like that, it's going to do a pretty good job. Now, the receiver itself is also really nice, and this is where a chassis system rifle does a very good job, especially for varmint hunting applications. A lot of those standard stocked rifle systems, when you start pressing on the stock at the end, could potentially flex the barrel, but since the rail system mounts to the receiver itself and then to the chassis, you don't have to worry about the flexing of the rail affecting your accuracy. Now, this one also has really nice ergonomics, and that's partially because of the real modularity of this system when it comes to the grip and the stock. It also has a really nice flared magwell and accepts the Ruger BX 15 round magazines, which is really convenient. When we were taking this on a few beaver hunts, we were getting about 15 to 16 beavers in one night, so having a mag like this without worrying about reloading after 10 rounds or where you're at is really convenient, especially with a beaver popping its head up in a pond 60 yards away. It may take 2 or 3 shots to get him, so having a little bit more capacity is nice, and having the ability to drop that mag and swap it out incredibly quick with this paddle right here is convenient. The Ruger BX 15 mags are not going to break the bank. You can grab 3 or 4 for a varmint hunting trip and you'll be good to go. They stash right in your pocket, and as you can tell right here, the 17 HMR is a lightweight round. The pick rail is integrated into the receiver itself. It bolts up rock solid. I've had no issues, and to chamber around and rack the action is fairly smooth. Now, is this the smoothest action I've ever felt on a bolt action? No, but we are talking about a Rimfire Precision, and it's pretty darn good for what it is. The action itself has never slowed me down. You can absolutely rattle off shots, and it's pretty darn quick for what it is, and I like the oversized bolt handle. Very easy to operate, even if it's cold weather outside with gloves, or at night, you can kind of feel around without any type of lighting and work that. The trigger on this is spectacular. It is absolutely awesome. A very crisp trigger pull, and the safety on here is very intuitive. If you're familiar with an AR safety, you're going to be familiar with this, although it's a slightly less than 45 degrees, it feels like, or 45-degree offset trigger. Now, the grip appears to be swappable with standard AR grips, but I like the one that comes on it. It feels pretty good. Reminds me of something similar to a Magpul, and it works out well. Now the stock is really nice because you've got comb height adjustment, length of pole adjustment, and overall length adjustment, as well as QD slots at the rear and a nice rubberized butt pad. The stock is great because, as you can see with this DNT, everything is going to fit a little bit different depending on what you put on here. And for me, this is an NV varmint getter at night, so it works out great where I can adjust this perfectly, kind of shrink it in a little bit so I can get my eye in the eye cup, and it works out incredibly well. Now let's talk about its performance down at the range, starting with reliability. 100% reliable. No feed issues, no function issues, no failures to extract, and 100% fire. It did not have any light primer strikes, no issues with that. Running a lot of the CCI. Now, for me, I love the 17 HMR, and I've really transitioned over to it, especially because of its flat shooting capabilities and its accuracy capabilities, and it was incredibly accurate out of this rifle. A lot of times when I'm varmint hunting, I'm going to be running 22s initially when I first started, and the drop was really far, especially for beaver hunting in a pond. One of the ponds we were hunting at was 100 yards across, and we were seeing dramatic drops, and then we were getting impacts. We weren't getting clean shots, and it was just getting frustrating. When we ran the 17 HMR, that completely changed the game. Super flat shooting, anywhere from 25 to 100 yards. You don't have to worry about a ton of drop, and you can look up the individual ballistics. And the other great thing about this is when you are beaver hunting at a pond and you may be set up on top of a hill or a dam or out of the back of a truck, for me, I don't mind launching a 17 grain projectile at a beaver on water as long as I'm knowing my backstops. It feels a little bit weird to launch a 55 grain 5.56 at 3,000 feet per second at a water source where you may get a lot better chance of ricochet, especially going 1,000 feet per second faster. With a lot of the cartridges, the 17 HMR is going to be pretty darn safe and effective to do a lot of varmint hunting in a situation where you may want something with a little bit more stopping power than a 22 and a little bit more precise than a 22 without stepping all the way up to a 223. The 17 is a freaking awesome cartridge. It's also not an obscure cartridge. There's a lot of new cartridges hitting the market, and they're just hard to find. You can swing by anywhere and find 17 HMR, so it's incredibly plentiful, and it was incredibly accurate out of this bolt-action Ruger Precision. The other cool thing is there's not a ton of chassis bolt actions out there on the market. I did start running the original Savage MDT chassis one, and that worked out pretty good, but it's pricey, and you don't see many discounts. The Ruger Precision had a $100 lower MSRP, and in fact, I found that selling for a lot less than that, so it was really affordable for a bolt-action chassis rifle with an M-lock and a really nice threaded barrel. In summary, I love it. I think you may too. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. If you're a varmint hunter, what rounds are you choosing? For me, in North Carolina, I'm not hunting varmint much past 100 yards, and this one does everything I need it to. Incredibly accurate, incredibly nimble, and incredibly easy to use, especially when you have that M-lock rail clamped up in a tripod. Man, this thing is awesome. Again, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Thanks to Ruger for sending this out at my request. I specifically requested this test and evaluation model from Ruger. They were nice enough to send it out. I don't have to send it back, so you'll see a lot more of this on the channel. And if you want to see one of the beaver hunts we did, check out my second channel, 704 Gear, where we did a little hunt with some beavers on one of the family ponds. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good one.